Braden's big idea. Braden was a sturdy donkey with long, soft ears and a coat the color of a rain cloud. He lived on a sun-drenched farm where he spent his days carrying heavy sacks of grain to the mill. Braden was very good at his job, and he was proud of his strong legs. But sometimes, when the sun began to set, he felt a little bit lonely. He wondered if there was more to life than just being strong. The master of the farm was a kind man named Silas. Silas had a tiny dog named Pippin, who was as light as a feather and as bouncy as a rubber ball. Every afternoon, Silas would sit on his porch and whistle. Pippin would race to meet him, wagging his tail so fast it became a blurry wag cloud. Silas would laugh and lift the little dog up for a snuggle. From behind the wooden fence, Braden watched Silas pat Pippin's head. He saw Silas share a piece of sweet biscuit from his own dinner plate. "Pippin is so lucky," Braden sighed, his ears drooping low. "He doesn't have to carry heavy sacks or pull the dusty cart. He just dances and gets cuddles. I wish Silas would look at me that way." Suddenly, Braden had a big idea. He perked up his ears and stomped his hoof. "If I want Silas to treat me like a treasure, I must act like one," he decided. He spent the whole afternoon practicing. He tried to wag his short tufted tail. He tried to make a high-pitched yip, but it came out as a loud hee-haw-hoo. Braden didn't mind. He was ready to be the best lap donkey in the world. That evening, the door to the farmhouse was left a tiny bit open. Braden saw his chance. He trotted across the yard, his heavy hooves making a loud clack-clack-clack on the stone path. He held his breath and squeezed his big, dusty shoulders through the narrow doorway. He was going to surprise Silas with his new, delightful personality. Inside, Silas was sitting at the dinner table, enjoying a bowl of hot vegetable stew. Everything was quiet and peaceful until the floor began to shake. The spoons began to rattle in their jars. Silas looked up, his eyes growing as wide as saucers as a giant gray shadow filled the dining room. He didn't know what was happening. Braden began his dog dance. He pranced around the table, kicking his legs out with joy. Crash! His heavy hip hit a side table, sending a vase of daisies flying. Clatter! His tail swiped a stack of plates right off the counter. Braden thought he was being graceful, but the room was turning into a mountain of broken bits and spilled water. "Look at me, Silas," Braden thought happily. He did his very best Pippin leap and landed his heavy front hooves right on Silas's lap. But Braden was not light as a feather. He was as heavy as a grand piano. The wooden chair gave a loud, terrifying crack as it started to tilt backward under the weight of the giant lapdog. Down they went in a heap of cold stew, broken wood, and gray donkey fur. Silas scrambled out from under Braden, coughing and dusting off his shirt. He wasn't angry, but he was very, very confused. He looked at his broken kitchen and then at his dusty donkey. "Braden," he cried, "what in the world are you doing in the house?" Silas led Braden back to the quiet, cool stable. He gave the donkey a long, slow scratch right behind the ears, the kind of scratch that donkeys love most. "You aren't a lapdog, Braden," Silas whispered, giving him a large, crunchy carrot. "You are a wonderful, strong donkey, and I like you just the way you are." Braden munched his carrot and realized that being himself was much better than pretending to be a puppy.